Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I want to follow up on one of your questions. General Wingell, as I understood your answer to the chairman, you anticipate a shortfall of $190 million that the Guard will need to pay for the President's decision to deploy the state National Guards to the border. Is that correct?
Senator, that is correct. If we don't reprogram funds back into our training accounts, we will have to make modifications within our current appropriation that will either reduce our training opportunities or we'll do things like cancel drill weekends to find the money so that we have the money to make sure that we have it.
General, haven't you come before this committee repeatedly and told us that you need readiness more than anything else?
Well, readiness is our primary goal in accordance with the #1 priority of the National Defense Strategy is what we're doing from there.
So would you like to explain to me how canceling drill weekends enhances the readiness of the National Guard?
Senator, so the National Guard is part of a mission on the southwest border. We routinely deploy and do missions assigned to us that have impacts on our readiness. At the end of the day, we're going to accomplish the mission that was given to the National Guard, which is to assist the Department of Homeland Security and secure the border.
I'm not questioning your dedication or following the orders of the President. I'm just trying to work out the equation here.
Sure.
When you answer his call, and it costs $247 million, and you have a $190 million shortfall, and the Appropriations Committee asks you a very direct question, how are you going to pay for it? What you've suggested is the cancellation of drill weekends at $100 million a weekend. And I'm asking you, if readiness is the goal, is the cancellation of those weekends consistent with the goal of readiness?
Canceling drill weekends will impact readiness. And I would tell you that what our hope is that the department finds funds available inside the department that are reallocatable to that so we don't have to do that.
How much money is asked for in the President's budget for next year when it comes to this mission on the southern border?
So right now there is no additional money.
So we're going to play this out again next year. We'll find out exactly when the President decides to declare the next invasion, send down good men and women who leave their jobs and their families to supplement what the border agents are doing, create a hole in the budget that the President's not even preparing for or not even anticipating, and run the risk that we'll cancel drill weekends across the board for our Guard and compromise their readiness. Is this any way to run a national defense?
Well, Senator, I would tell you that currently this mission is assigned to us through the end of this fiscal year. And so if there is a further assignment beyond the end of this year and into next year, we'll have to make accommodations to find
General,
the money.
I know you will do your duty.
Yes, sir.
And I obviously am questioning some decision-making at a higher level. Let me ask you why the National Guard and the Army Reserve had such difficulty in recruiting.
So, sir, I think the entire Army last year had trouble finding recruiting. I mean, the reasons why could be, I think the economy has been very good. It's a very competitive environment.
The economy is also very good for prospective Marines, sailors, and airmen.
It is.
And they met their recruiting goals.
Well, as a component, we have to recruit big numbers of folks into our force. Every year, the Army National Guard has to recruit about 50,000 people into our force to maintain our numbers. And the Army was growing a little bit. So as the Army was growing the active component, sometimes it becomes it's a competition amongst all of the components to find the relatively small number that fit the requirements to be part of our force.
So, Senator, not to interrupt, but since the question is directed to the Army Reserve, as the leader of the Army Reserve, let me respond directly to your question to the Chief of the Guard Bureau. So, first of all, candidly, recruiting has not been a significant issue for us. I would acknowledge before this committee, as I think I've acknowledged to you before, the Army Reserve is not where its current authorization is from an end strength perspective. So I acknowledge implicitly that we've had some problems from a strength perspective. But I would not concede that fundamentally we have a challenge with recruiting. In fact, this last month, as an example, the Army Reserve exceeded its current sort of trend for the year by exceeding our recruiting goals for over 700 new enlistees into the Army Reserve. I would also tell you that from an accessions perspective, from an attrition perspective, attrition or losing soldiers out of the Army Reserve is at the lowest it's been in 18 years. Fundamentally, I would attribute the challenge that I have not so much to achieving end strength, because we are, as I said now, we are actually increasing our end strength and have consistently now for some period of time. The truth of the matter is, and I take some responsibility for this, Senator, in a vigorous push for readiness over the last couple of years, fundamentally directed by me, to try to make sure we reduce the number of non-deployable soldiers in the Army Reserve and ready this force for major contingency operations in any number of potential theaters in a full domain of operational challenges. I have, in fact, insisted on additional readiness in terms of medical readiness, deployability, and all other aspects of warfighting skills. I would acknowledge that there has been some attrition in some soldiers who, frankly, probably hadn't been as challenged as they have in the last couple of years to remain in this force.
General Lucky, the numbers speak for themselves, and I'm just asking why the Army Reserve and Army National Guard have run into difficulties which the other branches haven't run into.
And Senator, I'll continue my question to you based on the Army National Guard. Is part of it has been a reduction in our full-time recruiters in order to recruit the force. So last year we were authorized an additional 440 recruiters, which will mitigate this year's shortfall. We will make our end strength this year. We believe that's probably not enough. We need to continue to add additional full-time support to help us recruit the force and sustain the force to the levels we need and to maintain its readiness.
Perhaps some of the reprogramming for the southern border can go for recruiters. That might be an interesting investment as well. I asked in a general way to prepare each one of you for this question, and I only have a few seconds left, so I'm going to pick on the Navy Reserve. What has happened in the last year that you found most challenging or disruptive in terms of what you had planned for the budget for the Navy Reserve?
Senator Durbin, thanks for the question. Well, first of all, let me thank the committee for giving us a budget on time, and that provided predictability. A reservist is at their best when they have that predictability with family, with their employer, and their military requirements. Anything that competes with that then worries us. Quite frankly, the demand that is generated for the shift of the focus on the National Defense Strategy. CNO has directed me to create a more lethal reserve, to move reserve billets to warfighting, and the move from less administrative and more warfighting. And as we shift to a maritime focus, support of great power competition, that movement and how we do it the right way has got my attention and takes most of my time as I think about it, sir.
Thank you. Let me say about appropriation bills on time. Fortunately, we are all in the loving arms of our chairman here, who has done such a magnificent job this fiscal year. We're confident he's going to do it again next year. Against all odds, he brings such skill to this task, and we all just stand here and just honor him today.
Thank you, Senator Durbin. I hope your statement becomes true. Thank you.